Let's see, turn on the AI companion and the captions. Welcome, everyone. This is week 25. So we're in the end game here now. I think there's only 30 out of the rest of this course, so a couple weeks left. We are continuing. Last week we looked at standard 3.2, which is assessments with clear statements of purpose, task, and performance expectations. And as y'all can see, as we move into the indicators here, we've got statement of purpose for 3.2a, and then clearly stated directions. I am going to assume that you all are doing a lot of these things already, but it's always good to just kind of go through it again and re-inform yourselves. And let's, I think we can go through it and we can have some conversations about what you all are doing, and hopefully we can have some good examples to show anybody that's watching this video later on. Week 25, if I look at Simon here, he says, prepare to install stair framing inside to ensure accessibility. I don't know if accessibility is really the focus here, but transparency is, and I could find a loose connection between transparency and accessibility in that if the students are, if your course is transparent, the students know what they're doing, why they're doing it, and how they're doing it. That would make it more accessible for your students to succeed. As it says here, focus on preparing to install. Think of it as adding a sturdy set of steps that allow students to move safely and confidently through your course. I like that. In the same way, including a clear statement of purpose and straightforward directions for each assessment ensures that students understand why the task is valuable, how to accomplish it, and what success looks like. So why, how, and what. When learners can see exactly how assignments support their progress, they can ascend each step with confidence and clarity. So our objective this week, provide a transparent rationale and unambiguous instructions for every assignment, making it easier for students to grasp the purpose of each task and climb toward their learning goals. Alignment here, responsibility, and actually I would say it's more communication. And then implementing curriculum and assessments. Just a moment, we've got another student coming in. Zoom recording will be there later, and I'll try to get that secret word on the screen before the time ends. Okay. Hey, Celiana. Haven't seen you in here. Welcome. Okay, 3.2a, assessments include a clear statement of purpose. So just right away, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. There's not much more here other than just it's good to have a clear statement of purpose. I think we can all understand why that is. It does say here, help students stay motivated, focused on the learning, and on task. So if you're looking for specific things, why it's beneficial for the students, I would say those are three things that you would want your students to do: stay motivated, stay focused, stay on task. Let's talk about what you all have in your assessments, if you care to share. Do you all have clear statements of purpose? Do students know why they're doing each of those things? I know we've talked about how we can connect the learning outcomes to the objectives, but we have our objectives. Do the students know why those are the objectives and all of that kind of stuff? So it's kind of related to what we've talked about before, but I'd be happy if anybody could share any examples.
My students do a vulnerability assessment report. Um, and I have a purpose that explains to them the obviously what the assessment is designed to do.
Mhm.
And then it also points to, here's an example. This assessment is designed to help students develop critical vulnerability indication and risk analysis skills, which are essential for ethical hackers and cybersecurity professionals. And then it says through hands on practice with the tools that we're using, Nessus and OpenVAS, students will learn how to scan networks, identify security weaknesses, and evaluate common vulnerabilities and exposures. And that's part, and then I tie it to the certification outcomes. So I
Mhm.
also point it to that. And then
Nice.
I tell them why it's important. I give them, basic wording, not technical. Um, so, for example, understanding vulnerability scanning is a fundamental skill for pen testers, security analysts, and IT professionals, which is their goal, right? Their goal to
Yep.
get to that. The ability to analyze and document threats is crucial in real world cybersecurity roles. And then the assessment prepares them for the certified ethical hacker and the CompTIA Security Plus certifications. And I have students will practice writing structured security reports, a key requirement in pen testing and compliance audits, which will assist them in gaining employment after graduation. And I put that in every assignment has something like this.
Mhm.
So my students don't come back and say, why am I doing this?
Mm.
Because, sometimes they do and they miss it. They don't read it. And then I have to point it out to them and say, you may want to take a look at each assignment has a purpose and a why.
Mhm. There we go. Yeah, and I heard you say it 3 times relating it back to either industry. This is something that we do if you're going to work in this field, you're going to have to know how to do this. And then also relating it to the whatever certification they're trying to get.
Right. Right.
Um, can I ask you, did you write those? Did they come with the book, or did you have any sort of
I worked with the publisher and the certification authority to help write some of those or to
nice?
validate them. Yeah.
Hmm. It sounds great. And I mean, I know we before we started recording, we were talking about students reading things, and it's a fine line to, you don't want to have too much. So it's like the students are like, okay, that's too much. I'm just not going to read it at all. But then also you want to make sure that you're including these kinds of things, like the purpose. And I even heard you talk about the directions a little bit, or like
Right. Right.
specifically what you're going to be doing
What
in.
you're using,
Mhm.
right. And then how does it tie into industry or, you know, um, certifications or industry? Because they do get tested on some of those tools.
Yep.
So
Okay. That's a good example. Thank you, Kelly. Would anybody else like to share?
Um, yeah, we have something similar in nursing. Trying to find a specific assignment. I write the simulation courses for our program. So a lot of my stuff, we have an overview page that the students read at the beginning of the module. That goes over what the simulation expectations are. So, um, I'll kind of I'll share my screen, if that's okay.
No problem.
All right. Can everybody see this?
Yep. If you could zoom in, that would make it a little bit more
Mm,
legible.
Is that better?
Yes, thank you.
So, this module is in this course. The students have, I guess I can show you guys. So, in this course, students have all these different modules, and since it's simulation, we name the modules after the different patients they'll care for over the quarter. So the students know which simulation they're walking into probably a week before. And when they access it, there's always overviews. Then there's what we call pre-work to be done before they come in, and then post-sim work to be completed after they do the experience. So for the overview, they click in here, and then I already let them know like this is what you're going to be expected to do. So you're going to learn how to recognize and manage patients who have this disease process. And then here are some of the objectives that we might have you meet by doing the simulation. Everyone is different, but it is, these are general objectives. I don't give them the very specific ones of like, here's how to do these, like you're going to do an assessment, right? But
Mhm.
they should be able to derive this. For context, these students are LPN RN students, so they're already nurses who are looking to progress into um, a higher licensure. So
Mhm.
they already have the foundation of how to care for what we call stable patients. So we're going into now more complex things. So
Mhm.
you see a lot of these objectives are addressing complex processes and teamwork and collaboration. And then down here we have outcomes, which are actually aligned to, or these are the course outcomes, which are aligned to our program outcomes. And then
Nice.
I also give them, this is what you're going to do in this module overall. So you should be completing all of these things.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, nice. A little
uh,
checklist at the end.
right. So then that way they're like, okay, I know how I have to do these things. And I've actually had students tell me that they print out this page, their overview page,
Yeah.
and they make sure like, okay, my checklist says I have to do these things. Did I do this? Yes. Did I do this? Yes. And so they know. We've made it a little better because there was some students were getting confused of like, well, what do you know, when do I submit this? So
Mhm.
we've done in some courses that are newer, linked the actual like assignment link to here. So
That's
like
cool.
this would have the link in it and it would take them directly to the assignment where they knew they were going. So
Yeah.
the assignments themselves, this is their reading are also. So this is to help prepare you taking care of a patient with sepsis. And here are the things that we need you to do. So still same outcomes, or different outcomes for this section, and they can click. So you have to review the reading. Well, I don't know what the reading was. Okay, that's what the reading was. I did.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, all of our assignments are tilted. Um, just like that. And it sets out that way students are, because before we were having that thing where students are like, well, it just feels like busy work. Well, actually, it's actually to prepare you for this thing that you're coming into.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and
so
yeah, you got a special case of students where it's like they're you don't really need to say like, oh, you're gonna be using this in industry because it's like they're coming from industry and they're like, okay, I
yeah,
need to know this, just because I need to know this to do better at my job.
yeah, there's all already that understanding, right, with
Mhm.
them
Yeah.
that shared mental model. With our newer students, our practical nursing, it's a little bit more difficult because they're so new to what like industry is.
Mhm.
They don't have that shared experience yet. So a lot of it is not only like, setting a good foundation for them in like academically, but also industry wise. Of
Mhm.
like, this is what you will be expected to do. This is how you prepare in this way that's structured and safe.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I love that. I love that you clearly have it labeled purpose and
mhm.
not only in the overview, but also you're hitting it again in the individual pages for the assignment. So I like that. I like what I'm seeing there. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Derek or Tracy, do y'all have anything that you want to share?
I just will add, because I'm doing similar things of what Kelly and Celiana are doing. I'll just add that I find that to be particularly useful for some of the discussion-based assignments or group projects where the students are maybe a little less enthusiastic about doing it. Because I think, I mean, for assessments like a test or a written assignment, I do think that the students clearly see themselves what the purpose is.
Mhm.
But especially for group projects or I mean, and I'm in a healthcare program too, and so we're doing like we do healthcare communication topics or whatever, trying to make it super applicable and so that they can see the connection. That's where I think I've made it more explicit what the purpose is.
Okay. Like you got students that are like, okay, what are we doing here? And then that's where you're injecting in like
Yes.
clearly stated purpose.
Yeah. Well, for example, we're doing in a group lab with the pharmacy tech program in a couple of weeks.
Oh.
And one of the students said, "Why do we have to do something with another healthcare program?" And I'm like, "Well, because you don't practice healthcare in a vacuum." Like,
Okay.
so, and that's what it says on the assignment. It's like you
Yeah.
are going to need to be working with other healthcare professionals. So.
Mm, that's good. That's good. I like that. Okay, I think that is good enough for talking about purpose. I think y'all get the purpose. Couple things that you can do, which y'all are already are doing these things. Adding a clear purpose statement to each assessment in your course, explaining how and why the assessment is important. Schedule or plan synchronous session to discuss the learning goals of each assessment. I'm not really sure what that means. Session
I'm
with who?
guessing I'm guessing like this is assuming that the course is online, so like schedule a session, which I was gonna add in like I don't have a purpose statement in all my assignments, but I do like I remind students, hey, this assignment is or like this assignment relates to the lecture, and then I go to the assignment and like tie it back to the what we're
Mm,
learning. So like I think that's why I don't have, but I am going to add a purpose statement because it does help tilt it.
yeah,
Um, so that's actually, I am going to do the first option for one of my courses, make sure that everything has just a very simple purpose statement, like, Celiana just had, it was a one sentence, boom, here it is.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I liked it. It was very succinct. It was like, you're here to do this. Here's how we're gonna do it. Um,
So students are getting it from me just verbally instead of,
oh, okay, having it written down.
yeah.
Gotcha.
I
Speaking of tilt, oh yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, I tend to just be very directive, like it's for this. And I think a lot of the times, sometimes when those purpose statements are so big, it's kind of like information overload to the eyes. I
Right.
see with them, they're like, oh my God, there's so much to read already in just this. So I try to like simplify it. It's easier for them to understand. It's easier for me to write it in that way so
Yeah.
that like it's just very straight to the point. But my class is very different from other classes, like lecture courses, like we have a communication and healthcare course. And then we also have like ethics course. So those are different outcomes and different topics that we're talking about. But
Yeah.
yeah.
It's funny you said that because before you came in, I said the exact same thing. It's
Oh.
like you don't want to have too much because then they're just going to look at it and be like,
Yeah.
don't care. Um, yeah, that's also why I'm try for this course as well. We'll try, we have this little paragraph of text that kind of like relates this image, but the weekly objective, and actually, I think this is a little bit too wordy too. This is to be transparent with y'all, something that was created by ChatGPT, but I would even take it a step further and try to maybe cut this down in size a bit, just so that it's like, you're going to do this. like we're working on, I'll show you all a little sneak preview about, we're working on a new AI course. Um,
There
and
is, I've
yeah,
seen templates in Chat GPT or like, on social media people. I have a couple like groups that I'm a part of where it's educators and they link their templates. Like one of the templates that I have is for um you can input a document and the Chat GPT will search through it and give you ways that you could change the language to be like more inclusive for students who are like neurodivergent. Um, and or like you can, I think Magic School AI, you guys were telling me about like if they're at a different reading level, like
yeah,
how to make
and
it better.
just to don't mean to interrupt, but I want to make sure I bring this up. If y'all go into uh, any course, you'll have something called Conmigo Teacher Tools, where it's very similar to Magic School if you know about Magic School. But it's got the same kind of thing where it's got clear directions, uh, leveler, adjust the complexity of any given text, make it relevant. So this is kind of, you missed it as well, Celiana, where we were talking about we were looking at rubrics and there were rubrics that were made for like Gen Alpha where it had a bunch of slang like Riz or Omega or Cap or something like I don't know.
Sure.
But try to make it so that the students can understand it in their own language. But look at this. This was also a real world context generator.
How
Um,
did you add that?
so good question. I have the tutorial if you want, if you can't get it from here. If you go to our LibGuide, we're supposed to be making a bunch of tutorials, but we've had other things to work on. Setting up and using Conmigo. I made a video that's step by step, under 2 minutes. Basically, you log in, you go to your settings, you go to your navigation, and then
Gotcha.
just enable it. It's
I
there.
see it.
It's
I
in
see it.
every list. So
Yeah,
every course.
your video for the portfolio saved me. So thank you.
Nice. I'm
Because
glad you.
I got freaking lost, man. I was like, no. But
Yeah. It's
yeah, it
tricky.
helped. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. So yeah, it students won't see it if you enable it. The students, like if I go into student view, you won't be able to see it. But for you all to use it, you can go in here and it's yeah, it's nice because it's embedded into Canvas. You don't like have to go to another site and sign in. It's already like once you're in a course, you can just get in there and do it up. So with that said, we were just talking about purpose. So I'm going to show you all something that you might need. Where is this? Okay, here we go. All lowercase. Right. Let's get back to it. All right, so that's Conmigo. Pretty nice. And then I'll put this in the chat for y'all if you want quick access to the tutorial. I set up Conmigo. All right. Next. So that one is 3.2a, statement of purpose. That's self-explanatory. Next one here. Assessments includes clearly stated instructions. I mean, just pretty much, I think everybody, especially we just talked about some examples here where it has the directions. I'm gonna give you all a second to read this, and then we can talk about it. All right, so the natural analogy here is assembling a piece of furniture, having the step by steps. Um, I give my students a checklist, but step one is prepare for these. Prepare mentally or physically
Well, if
or
there are tools
spiritually.
needed, if there's tools needed, you know, they're going to do a lab. What do they need? You need Hyper-V, you need these VMs running, you need these tools ready. And then also, I recommend they join a peer group, like either on my students do it on Discord, and it's cool with me when they do that. But I found that was slowing them down because they'd go to do a lab and then they would forget something, or they didn't have something installed or downloaded. So
Mm,
by adding that at the beginning, like this is what you need to have before you do this assignment.
mm,
And then they can start the conduct the penetration test, and then I have checkoffs, reconnaissance. Here's some likely tools you might use, like
mm.
whois, NSLOOKUP, Shodan. Scanning, here's some tools you might use, for that. And then I list each like section and what tools they may need or what they may need, um, to get them ready, so when they do the lab, it doesn't slow them down.
Right, because yeah, it's like going to the gym and then you're ready to do your workout, but you didn't like prepare your weights or you didn't prepare your band or your box step up or whatever you're trying to do, right?
I had an assignment. So my students are doing security audits on computers,
Mhm.
and the computers are virtual. So I had a student just struggling, and they emailed me, and I logged in to Zoom with them, and they're showing me everything they're doing, which is correct. They never started the victim machine. So we use a OS called Metasploitable. So the victim machine wasn't running. Of course it's gonna fail.
Yes.
But I realized like a third of my class was doing that. They kept forgetting to start this. So
Mm,
then I added that to the like step one, prepare for the assignment. And then I said, your victim machine must be running. The
mhm.
router untangled must be running. And then what they need. And that it stopped. I didn't have that issue after that.
Yeah,
And it did teach them a lesson. I mean, you can't scan a machine that's not on. So, you know, but yeah.
that makes sense to me. I do kind of I did this kind of similar thing here. I'm recalling the generative AI in higher education course. We were trying to make a like a ascent up the mountain. So I called it gather your gear. And so it's like before you start this one, make sure you have your CLOs ready, make sure you have a current lesson plan and any other information that you would want to feed the AI. Because yeah, I think there's something to that, to making sure both. I said it as a joke, but physically, like making sure you have the physical things. Mentally, like make sure you're in the right headspace. Uh, and then spiritually, just make sure you're in the right place in life to do it.
Yeah, something else I started to add was at the bottom of the assignment, I put success tips. And I would put like, before doing this assignment, you might want to start early and break the project into manageable tasks.
Mhm,
Test
mhm.
and verify findings multiple times to avoid false positives. Use ethical hacking best practices and ensure compliance with course guidelines. And I have these checked off at the bottom, just tips for me,
Yeah,
to help them, guide, because I have students who are going to rush through it. You can't do that on one of these. You got to take your time. Um, and I've had student feedback saying, I love that because it
yeah,
reminded me to slow down and double check what I just did. Um,
that's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Tips for success. Also, if you read here, tips for avoiding wasting time. So like common pitfalls, uh,
I'm
common
I'm
common
good at that.
mistakes.
I'm good at that.
Well, it's great, as teachers, we're always evolving based on what our students are, like how they're getting through everything. And I mean, if as you said, this, a third of the class isn't starting the thing that they need to start, then okay, that tells me I need to let them know, like from now on, that they should do this first. This makes sense to me. Yeah, step by step. I don't know. I love a good step by step. I always try whenever I'm making stuff for you all to give you all some, step by step as much as I can. I mean, if you look at any of the assignment pages here, it's choose a method and then provide the evidence and then upload it. I guess I could give more specific for these, but I think y'all are operating at a higher level than most of our students are, and so I think you
I just
can.
have to say one thing that has saved me. Do you guys ever use Scribe? Have you seen that plugin that they have? Is Scribe
No.
AI? Oh, it is wonderful. It there is a part of it that is free, but there is a part that you do have to pay for. And for me, I personally, that's me. Like I pay for it because it's very worth it to me. So we were having issues with students knowing how to access their stuff for we use this product called ATI, and it's very overwhelming at first. There's a lot of products in there. There's a lot of things where students can get lost very easily.
Mhm.
And I was trying to wrap my brain around like, okay, how do we tell them like, here's where you go for this? And before we were giving them pathways, right, of like click here, then do this, then do that. But a lot of my students are visual
Mm.
learners. So I heard about Thrive on social media and I just decided to try it. Um, and ever since then, I don't have students. I don't have students emailing me of how I don't know how to access these things. I don't know where to click. So I'll share real quick. Like this is what I put in. So the one common thing that students were complaining or like emailing me about was like, I don't know how to get to the patient chart for my simulation. So using the Scribe plugin, I was able to actually give them like a step by step, like here's where you click, this is what you look for, this is the
Mm.
activity,
Mm.
here's the patient, um, and then here's the website off to the side. I have it as a plugin on my
Yeah.
Chrome here, but once you create it and you just start clicking in here, it saves it over here and then it takes you directly to the site and you can actually like edit it.
Oh.
Yeah. And
Oh.
then you don't have, you can share the link, right? So like even this is,
Yeah, go to
I
that one.
think
Simple syllabus.
I did this for simple syllabus for our faculty. Um, and then once you're done with it, you can share it and you can actually export it into any one of these files.
Can you share that one with me real quick?
Yeah, I can.
It's almost simple syllabus time again.
Yeah, sure. So it downloaded directly, and then
Look at
here's
that.
all of these.
I do all this by hand. This is so.
Right. No, and
I'm like
you know, her.
capture, PowerPoint.
Right. Yeah,
Mm.
save, right, snippet, everything. No, it does it for you. And it actually writes like these instructions that it has, it writes it for you, but you can go in, like I can go in and edit, right? So if it
Oh.
just says like click simple syllabus, I added like on the navigation bar.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
And then you can actually
Mm.
like if there's something in here that you want to blur out, like you can edit the image and let's say I want to redact
Oh, you
this.
can crop
It
it.
already does
Oh,
it.
redact.
Yeah, it's it's pretty nice, I have to say. It's a lifesaver. I've shared it with a couple of my faculty of like this is what I'm doing. I don't know if we can get like a faculty account or what, but it's it's just a lifesaver.
Well,
Even
I'm glad you showed me that
I
because
would use it.
yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean if TLC is willing to, I don't know, but I'll share that file with
it
you
was
real quick.
brought up last year. Kristen said, "Oh, have y'all try it out, Scribe. Do you want to do it? And I remember getting into it and my brain shut it off because when I do it, I want to have like the whole window, not just inside the browser. But I don't know. I think a lot of stuff, even like because I like to like I'm in PowerPoint, I'm in Google Chrome, I'm in Word, like all that kind of stuff, and
Sure.
I was worried that it wasn't going over. But I would say for most stuff, like simple syllabus or like any sort of Canvas stuff, I think that's a great
Yeah.
reason.
It's been really beneficial, especially for our first quarter students, or like even when we're introducing something new to them that we haven't used before. It takes me, I'm sure you've seen or you have this experience too, where it's like it takes me forever to do these things like
Mhm, mhm.
from hand. And
Yeah.
now with Scribe, it takes me maybe and less than an hour, if that.
I mean, it seems like you're just clicking along and then it just does everything
It
for
does.
you.
It
So,
does.
huh.
Yeah.
Okay. I might have to relook into Scribe. Thank you for
Yeah.
for showcasing
But
that.
that helps, right? With like telling the students of like, here's how, here's what you need to be successful, or here's where you need to click to get to this thing, right?
Yeah, I think I'm going to add that to our our assignment here. Check out Scribe if you're looking for easy step by step for stuff that's in a browser. So,
Hmm.
okay, and just to let's see, kind of wrap things up here. Um, the methods here that you can do this assignment. So as we just described, the scribe is pretty good. Select an assessment and think about the most common mistakes. Okay, we already talked about that. Make sure, well, and the next step would be add that in, right? Make any revisions. Select an assessment, have students read the assessment directions and identify places where you can simplify, expand, reword, or rephrase. If you don't want to give extra work to your students, you can have ChatGPT do this. So you can say, uh, ChatGPT, imagine that you are a student in this program and look at my assignment instructions and then make sure that everything is understandable for this level of students. And ChatGPT is pretty good at that, making any sort of revisions to text. Always double check. Anytime I talk about AI, always double check. Make sure that it actually is giving the correct instructions. But I mean, it's kind of cursive knowledge. Like if you like what to do and the steps. And obviously I know that if you click on this tab in Excel, then it's going to give you all of these options, but maybe your students don't know that. And actually, just a quick story about my class. So I teach adult basic education. It's 82. It's called tech literacy. I'm teaching from a OER that is uh, how to, well, where is it? It's beginning Excel. So Excel was requested from the students and they wanted to learn how to do it. And so I obliged them and found this OER so that I could go step by step on how to use Excel. A lot of math, like, math that I understand and that I know how to do and I understand. But I always find myself uh, playing towards like level zero. I mean, like, I'm going to assume that they know, basic plus and minus, but like, if I'm explaining how when you type something in Excel and you type in, for example, like 0.86, if you're going to change that to a percentage, you need to know what 0.86 is as a percentage. And a lot of my students didn't know that. I asked them, okay, I say, okay, you got 0.86, right? What is this if I were to write this again as percentage? And keep in mind, a lot of my students in the ABE course are like ESL, or they're people who maybe didn't do so well in school growing up. And so I had to take like 10 minutes to like explain 0.86. Okay, when I switch this to percentage, it's going to be 86% because yada yada yada. And so and another thing I do, I'll take, for example, what did we do today? Like we did conditional formatting. Um, I like this OER because it has the objectives right here at the top. It's got a lot of explanations, but this can sometimes be a lot for my students, especially if they're like ESL students. So what I do is I'll take all of this, and then I'll basically what I'll do is I'll just grab all of this, and then I have a ChatGPT conversation prompt where I've asked it to extract all of the steps out. Like don't add any explanations, just give me the steps. And so what I do for my students is I'll give them this sheet with the step by step, where it's just focused on what they're going to be doing. And so it takes out all the extra. And when we're in class, I'm going over it and I'm like, okay, this is what we're doing. This is what it should look like, and I'm demoing it with them. But it simplifies it for them when they're actually going through it. And so that's I don't know. I thought I'd bring that up because we're talking about step-by-step instructions. Adding an assignment checklist. So we've talked about checklists a couple times here to each assessment in your course. Like, and I think it was Celiani, you said you have a checklist in your overview page. Doesn't matter. Like yours looks great as it is, but if you had right now you have bullet points, but if those were like little boxes, then they could check off the box. I don't know, something satisfying about having an actual checkbox, but the same thing can happen. They cross it out, check it off, whatever. But I was looking at some of Kelly's submissions, and Kelly, I saw you recently had one where it was like that you have the actual boxes there for them to check off.
It helps to keep them on track, and I can see it. They can show it to me, but it just helps keep them on track so they know what they have accomplished. Like I have a fairly large project in one of my classes. I broke it into three sections, 3 steps, I call it, or stages. I mean, and then each stage has like 6 steps in it, and there's a checkoff. And as they go through the stages, it's already explained to them that you have to do it in order, because if you don't, things are not going to work. So the checklist was way too long. That's why I broke it into 3 stages, and that helped. That really helped the students focus like 6 steps at a time, or 6 tasks.
Chunking, yeah. Chunking is good. That's it makes it more manageable. It's instead of going you're here, this is where you need to be, having that kind of roadmap of steps that you need to do is great. Next one here, ask a colleague outside of your discipline or the instructional designer. Y'all can ask me to read and give feedback on the assessment directions in your course anytime. Y'all want to talk about your assessments, just reach out to Jeff, James, or I, and we can check that out for you. Oh, I wanted to talk about tilt last I wanted to talk about it earlier, but we got sidetracked. Tilt, once again, if you're not familiar, is transparency in learning and teaching. Here is the official site that has all the good information about that. We also had a Tilt course at Clover Park that was run by some faculty members. Did any of y'all go through that? I think it was like Diane, Pearl, and Haley. I think ran a Tilt course. And I think Tilt was actually part of AQ, if anybody did AQ as well. But just to reiterate, it's being transparent in everything about your course. What do you need to do? How do you do it? Why do you need to do it? And then also relating to the assessment part, what am I grading you on? So this is where rubrics come into to play. And I think we're actually going to be moving into rubrics very shortly. So let me just double check our little map here. So I come in here and I look at our crosswalk. So we're doing statement of purpose, clearly stated directions. So yeah, next week. Actually, not next week. Announcement. We'll have a in-service next week. So we're not going to meet here. Hopefully I'll get to see y'all's pretty faces in real life next week at in the McGavick Center. We're going to look at this one, consistent due dates, and then rubrics and scoring criteria next. So I guess this will be next week, the 7th of March. Okay. So yeah, in the meantime, if you haven't heard about Tilt, check that one out. On this site, there's some resources. I think I played a little bit of this purpose video last time. There's also some good resources here if you want to learn some more about Tilt, some podcasts about it. And then, not the one I was looking for. Oh yeah, here's a video that just goes over Tilt in general. Oh, and then here's some example assignments of what a tilted assignment might look like. So if we're looking at environmental history. So, recommend shared readings, assignment. Here we've got the purpose at the top. We've got the skills and knowledge, KSA.
So are you saying that because I teach cybersecurity, I have to be transparent with them?
I think it applies to everyone, but oh, okay. So this is sorry. I was looking at this one and I was like, I don't even see anything here. This is the less transparent example, but then if you scroll down, this is what a more transparent example would be. And I would also add, in addition to, I'm going to try to add in what Celiana was talking about with that app, but did they have it in, let me see here. I think I lost it. I think they might have, I don't think they call it transparency, but I'm not sure. But in those Conmigo tools, they might have something that is similar to making it transparent. Taking an assignment, tossing it into ChatGPT and saying, can you tilt this assignment? If you just say, can you tilt this assignment, and then copy in your assignment, maybe it's already good to go, but maybe there's some low-hanging fruit that you can change. There's kind of so much. It's translucent. It's the cloudy, moderately opaque.
Yeah, there you go. Like foggy glass in a bathroom.
Like fog assignment. I like that. Fog. Those kind of foggy. All right, so those are the things for this week, 3.0. 3.2a and 3.2b. Any other things that y'all would like to say before we reach the top of the hour? All right. Well, okay, I gave you all the code. Y'all are good to go. Thank you all for coming. Saliana, thank you for taking the time and sharing.
When did I miss the code?
Did you miss it? I will send it to you
Okay,
right
thanks.
now as a private message. What do these go? Direct message.
It's been
Yeah.
a while since I've done this. So what do we do with the code exactly?
Oh, okay. Let me do that. Let me show you how that works. So, basically, what you're gonna do is go to. Are you in the Canvas course by any chance?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Go to the module 25, and the first thing is a quiz.
Oh, I see.
And so just go to the quiz and then take the quiz, and then there's just one thing, and that's
I
the
see.
code. And if
Turn
you do
your
that, you'll get
cookies
credit
in.
for attending
Great.
and participating.
And he won't say it out loud. He holds it up on a piece of paper.
That's
hard
right.
to see sometimes, but it's okay.
See sometimes. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you for the. You know what I should do? Now that you said that, see, let me see student feedback. For the people who are here, I'll put it into the chat for you. How about that? And then I'll just put the one on the screen for the people who aren't here.
And then
That
where do
works.
the videos for this get uploaded?
So in that same quiz,
Mm-hmm.
like right now, it's not there, but if you look at the previous week, it'll be down at the bottom. I embed
Oh,
the.
I see the little thing. Okay. Yes, I see it.
Yeah, and you can't fast forward through to get the answer to the quiz. You got to watch the whole thing.
Sounds
By
like you're
design.
talking from experience, Kelly.
By design.
Yeah,
You can since it's on YouTube. I will sometimes put it on like 1.5 speed.
yeah, but he holds
what
it
I
up
usually
so
do.
quick you miss it.
Yeah, that's true.
I think he does that on purpose, right?
By design. By design. All right. All right, I gotta get going, but hopefully I'll see y'all next week.
See ya.
See ya.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
Have a
Bye.